Hello, agents. I'm Mariah with Agents Invest, and today we have Mike Swenson. He is one of our bootcamp alumni and one of our top agent referral partners with Agents Invest. He is the team lead for the Elite Advantage team out of
Mhm.
Minnesota. Welcome, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well. We are maybe going to hit 40 degrees today, so it's a warm day in Minnesota.
Oh, it's 70 out here in Los Angeles. It's starting to warm up and be spring.
Yep. Yep. It's a big difference, but I
Oh.
have a wife and kids that I love that love living here. So,
They love the snow. I get it.
yep.
Oh, well, let's dive in. We're going to talk about teams and team expansions today. So
Mhm.
let's just start off with, why is being part of a team a good idea for agents?
Yeah, I think my experience in real estate. So I started out 8 years ago for a residential real estate team, and my role was the COO. So I got a chance to build the operations side of the team. Really focus on helping recruit agents to the team. And we grew from a team of 7 agents to, over the course of 5 years, we grew to having about 60 agents on our team. And so I saw the benefit of people being on a team. Now, don't get me wrong, there's bad teams out there. There's teams, I get it, right? There's just like individual agents, right? There's good agents and there's not so good agents.
Right.
And so what I saw was people were able to do a few things joining on a team. Number one, you're able to kind of stay in your lane of what you really want to do and what works well for you. For some reason, if I was working for a large corporation, I don't necessarily want to be HR and the admin side and the sales side and the marketing side and the R&D side. And yet for some reason in real estate, people feel like, well, I just want to do it all. I just want to learn everything about the business. And would large companies be where they are if everybody tried to do anything? And so you get a chance to really just do what you love. If you like working with people and you like helping people, you get to do that. You don't have to get bogged down in some of the details and the paperwork and even the decision making, like trying to decide, like, well, what are we going to do for marketing? What are we going to do for lead gen? How do we do that? How do we test things out? There's so many decisions to make, and it pulls you away from kind of doing what you do and what you love to do. And
Right.
so what I've seen is people joining a team, they're able to compress time frames, get to a level of mastery faster than they would trying to do it all by themselves. You're also able to share your learnings. So as you go along, we get to talk about, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's working well? And so there's a collaborative atmosphere.
Mhm.
And I've always subscribed. I mentioned to you this before we started, is, I've had the mantra, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so that's really been, I love being on teams. I grew up playing sports, being on teams and collaborating with classmates, and then working for a couple of great companies. I just really see the value when you're on a successful team where you enjoy working together, you like doing things together. And so I've seen that value. So you get to kind of do what you love. You get to do more of what you love to do and less of what you don't love to do. And then really, like I said, kind of compress timeframes, be able to move faster and more quickly to get to a high level of mastery versus being bogged down trying to make every decision for yourself.
Right. Well, so the key though is to find the right people. So when you're looking for, a team to collaborate with, where do you go to find this tribe, your tribe, your like-minded individuals?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's a challenge, right? And so just like, relationships that you're in, friends that you have, it takes time to develop those relationships. And so I do consulting on the side for people building their real estate teams, believe it or not, and had
Mhm.
a conversation this morning with a team that's looking to grow and add agents, and they're like, "Hey, we know we really need to get more bodies on the team." And so I was talking with them about their approach, like, how are you putting yourself out there? Like, what really is, it comes down to the value proposition. What's the value proposition? Why would I join your team versus somebody else's team? And you have to be able to clearly
Right.
identify that. Um but yeah, it takes time. It's building relationships, just like working with investors. It takes time to earn people's trust, to where they would refer you to somebody else, the same way. with finding agents or finding other teams to work with, you have to get out there and network and have conversations and really figure out like, where are you going? What are you looking to do? And how can real estate get you there? For me, real estate is just a vehicle to finding success in life. And so
Right.
if it wasn't, creating widgets, it's helping people through real estate. And so real estate's just the tool to get there. So it's really about kind of, what are your goals? What are you wanting to accomplish with your life? And then how can real estate as an agent and working with investors, because that's the other piece, we are an investor focused team. We don't
Yes.
really work with residential clients. And so, it allows us to double dip. We're helping find great investment properties for our investors as well as ourselves at the same time. So we get to kind of, I tell our team, our day job and our night job are the same, because in a lot of people, their day job is to go work and make money so that they can do real estate investing at night and do it on the side with the hope of growing that income to get to where you want it to be. And for us, our day job and our night job just align. And so once again, it allows us to kind of do that faster. But yeah, just talking with people and figuring out, what do you want to do in life? What do you want, what do you want to accomplish, and how can real estate help you get there?
Well, your team has grown exponentially in the past year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we so 2 years ago, we didn't work with investors. We were a residential team. My background's been in residential real estate, and at its peak in 2019, the team that I was on, we had over 600 transactions, and we were the 31st largest residential real estate team in the United States. And so what attracted me to working with investors over residential real estate is, it's about building wealth. It's about trying to work smarter, not harder. Being
Mhm.
able to work with fewer clients purchasing multiple properties versus doing it on your own. And so for us, a big decision was, do we want to try to continue to do residential real estate, or do we just want to, just work with investors or be a hybrid team? And we decided, we really want to go all in on working with investors. So, in the past 2 years, as a big part to working with Agents Invest, it's helped us get further faster in where we want to go. And yeah, so we work with investors. We have, duplexes, fourplexes, short-term rentals. We have, larger or commercial multifamily apartment complexes, as well as too doing some partnership deals ourselves. We acquired a 25 unit building along with investors,
Oh, that's
as a part of building our team. So how have we changed? We've gone from slinging single family homes and townhouses to now exclusively working with investors and doing some of these partnership deals. We have an LOI out on a property, a 30 plus unit property right now, that we're looking to potentially do another partnership deal with. And the other agents on my team are in this deal with us together. And so that's where it's not about me building wealth, it's about us building wealth together. And so they get a chance to do that. So yeah, it's hard to talk about. There's so many things that even I don't think about that have changed over the last 2 years as a result of working with investors. But yeah, we own a 25 unit building because we've worked with investors. We're looking to acquire a 30 unit building ourselves because we work with investors at the same time as helping investors achieve their own goals, that they want to accomplish themselves outside of these partnership deals. So yeah, there's been so many things that I can.
that's
Yeah.
so impressive and unique, that you are a team lead of agents that are, investor focused and helping investors find these different properties, of course. But then your team is pooling together, right? And also investing yourselves, that's amazing. You're building wealth, in both directions, and I haven't heard that being done, actually. I'm sure that there's a few, but you're the first one that I know of as a team that has gone in together to buy investment properties, and commercial properties, no less, like big multifamily. I'm proud of you guys. That's so amazing, and I'm happy to follow in the journey and see it all happen.
Yeah, I think what I find is sometimes people are short-sighted in their thinking. And this has been, when I was recruiting agents for our residential team, I would always think like, how do we get people to stay? Part of the value proposition is what attracts to the team. How can you help me get where I want to go faster, like we talked about? But then there's that end component of how do we get people to stay, because 80% of people are out of real estate within 2 years. And so we always look at trying to solve that end piece. Now, I don't require people to be on our team for life, and yet I think it's an alignment of values and an alignment of goals that helps people want to stick around. Because if they're a great person on the team, we want to be able to build things together. And so that's where I saw doing these, partnership deals with the other agents on our team. Now they've been on our team for 2+ years. I don't know how that's going to work as we add newer agents onto the team. We'll figure that out. But at the same time, I'm looking for kind of that piece that's going to keep people around, and what our focus is, we always talk about, are we going to be focused on growing a pie together, or worrying about how much of a slice of a pie that I have? Because if we've got a really big pie, it's going to be so big that the size of the slice isn't going to matter. And so that's where, as a team, we're really just focused on how do we grow the pie. Now, obviously, we're on a team. There are slices of a pie, but that's really been our mantra, is finding the people that want to focus on let's grow a pie together, versus I want 100% of the pie to myself and it's just going to be a tiny pie, versus let's make a really big pie and we'll worry about kind of dividing that up down the road.
I love that. You guys want to see each other succeed.
Hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit too, because I know you had a team member that moved to a different state. So you've already kind of expanded out of, I mean, obviously you're in Minnesota and you have team members there, but you've already
Hmm.
expanded and kind of brought in another state. So talk to us a bit about how that's going.
Yeah. So, part of the decisions that I've made and how we run our team is I'm thinking through a macro lens. Now, I've had the benefit of that because we had, our previous team of 60 agents in 7 different states. Like, I had to think through a lot of logistical pieces, right? I'm on operations. That's kind of my specialty. So I've had to think through those things. So, thinking through the brokerage, thinking through like listings and transaction management, thinking through leads, um, you know, listings and transaction management. I partner with a third party company that's in 27 states. I chose that company because I want the ability to expand to other states. Now, there's still, 23 other states that they don't cover yet, and yet I have a vested interest to help them succeed and grow. We were the first people to be in Minnesota that they worked with, but I think at that time they were in 13 other states. So I knew they knew how to build out systems of how to go into other states. Just like my previous team, when we went into New York, as an example, we had to figure out, how do we do listings and transaction management in New York, because we're comfortable doing it in Minnesota, and so those other states. So that's where I've made decisions aligning with people, once again, that kind of fit the direction of where we want to go. So when it came down to our agent moving from Minnesota to Florida, I called them up. I knew they were in Florida. I knew they're very successful in Florida. And I said, hey, we're in Florida now. What do we need to do? And they said, okay, work with this person and she'll connect with the person that's already working with your team in Minnesota. They'll sync up on the systems and then she'll be off and running with it. And it really was that simple. I had a transaction coordinator right out of the gate that knew how to handle our team in Florida, because I had partnered with somebody that's great at systems and great at scaling. Same thing from a brokerage perspective. I called up my broker in Minnesota. I said, hey, we have an agent moving to Florida. What do we do? And she said, well, once they get their license, they just contact the Florida broker and you're good to go. And all the back end is taken care of. And so it provides a platform, kind of an open map, where we can move forward. We're getting investor leads. We do some pay-per-click advertising, finding investor leads. That person works with investors all over the United States with pay-per-click leads, right? So now we can find people all over the United States. Investors want a good deal. Some are more specific to certain types of properties or certain states, but we're pulling in leads from all over the United States, so that when an agent comes on our team in a different state, we have kind of that ramp ready to go where there's not a lot of obstacles in the way. It's just a smooth transition to get them up and running on the team in another state. So that's where my operations background has helped out. I've been thinking through that stuff of how do we try to not have as many barriers and hurdles. And it's because I went through that on the residential side, kind of figuring out how to jump over those hurdles, that I've now put together a team and a platform where we can kind of move pretty quickly without a lot of barriers coming up throughout the way.
That's fantastic. Do you have your sights set on any particular states that you're wanting to expand to?
Yeah, so having done expansion in the past, they kind of always talk about, do you lead with, kind of the location, or do you lead with the person?
Right,
And it probably comes down to the person. Now, obviously, that person is going to have to be in a spot that makes sense for investors.
right.
Um, but at the same time, I know that I want to succeed with great people on our team. And the locations will figure out down the road. So yes, now that will also help maybe dictate where we start hunting, where we start having conversations with people. And so strategically, yeah, there's some other states that I'd like to be in. I want to provide a good opportunity for investors to kind of have a catalog of good investment opportunities. And so finding some states that are different than what you'll find in Minnesota is important. But really, it's finding somebody that I really want to work with and that we align well, our goals are together. And if that person happens to be in Iowa, which is right next to us, great. If that person happens to be in Tennessee or Kentucky or something like that, fantastic. But it's more going to be, is that a person that kind of has a similar vision with us, and the two kind of wants to diversify their own business. They see like, oh, it would be valuable to partner with people in other states because I do have investments, but what if the market changes, or what if my location isn't as great for investing? Well, that's why we're doing our day job of selling properties and our night job of building an investment portfolio
Mhm.
together. And so it's finding those like-minded people, if they're in a solid location.
Sure. No, I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, what are the biggest tips that you have for other agents that are, thinking about growing their teams?
Yeah. I consult on the side with real estate teams, helping them get their operation systems in order, helping them think through kind of lead generation, how that works, their materials, all that stuff. And for a lot of them, it's understanding the power of leverage.
Mhm.
I spoke with an agent earlier this week, and he has a successful business, and he does it all himself. And he has kids, and he's like, well, I just do that at night. I was like, you do all your transaction coordination? Yeah, I just do it at night. Well, you
Aw.
can do that, but I want to be with my kids and my wife at night too. And so it's understanding the power of leverage, and leverage takes time, right? You don't have to hire somebody full time. Even like we talked about listings and transaction management, that's an easy one right out of the gate where you can get that off of your plate. It comes at a cost, and you have to be willing to accept that cost. Doing, paying for leads, or paying for, I have a podcast, the Real Freedom podcast. Imagine that we talk about building wealth through opportunities in real estate, right? It's in alignment with what I do. I pay somebody to edit those videos. I pay a virtual assistant to help with a lot of the marketing that we do. And so I understand the power of leverage, and that leverage comes at a cost. But then it's also aligning with great people along the way, that you're proud of your operations leverage partners that you have, and you like working together with them. So I think sometimes people don't really know what they need to do to get out of it. They know they're overwhelmed. They know that they have a lot of stuff going on in their business. They're all over the place. And yet they're trying to figure out, what do I do? It's finding that leverage, identifying kind of, how am I going to get leverage? And then you have to make the leap. You've got to get some leverage in your business to get out of it, and understanding, yeah, it's going to come at a cost, but we can also grow faster, right? Paying for operations help, or paying for administration help, is an investment in your business, not an expense, because they should be able to help you grow faster.
Absolutely. Well, if some of these agents watching want to hire you as a consultant, or if they want to possibly join your team, how do they find you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me, here on Facebook. Feel free to friend request me and reach out. We do actually have a website, right? I've got a system set up, eliteadvantageagent.com. If you go there, it kind of talks. There's a little video talking about being on the team, kind of what we're looking for. There's a few questions, and we can have a conversation there. Or yeah, I mean, in terms of consulting, I work with Soprani Consulting, is the name of that group, and I work with some investor teams. I also work with residential teams because I've been doing that for a long time as well. But yeah, friend request me. Feel free to, if you want to fill out that form, great. Otherwise, you can just email me, mike@eliteadvantageteam.com, and I'm happy to have a conversation. And even too, like I don't want, like, this isn't selling anything. I just love helping people. So if you're like, Mike, what am I doing? What can I do? How can I help?
Help!
Um, operations, I love systems and
Yeah.
operations. So even if it's just, hey, for 15 minutes, let's chat and kind of help talk through this. I love those conversations too.
Awesome. And I'm going to put your contact information in the comments.
Mhm.
I'll also put a link to your podcast and your website there too. So
Yeah.
amazing.
Awesome.
All
Yeah,
right.
happy to help any way I can. I just love having conversations with people, and being able to run the team that I have in the past has given me a chance to think through a lot of those decisions and maybe see 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, with where you're at, and build that out. And now I'm doing that myself on the investment side, building out my investor team. So but yeah, just happy to help and share any way that I can.
Absolutely. All right, Mike. Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling us all of your expertise. I mean, you're really out there killing it. I love it that you're not only helping these investors but also helping your team. You guys
Mhm.
are growing and striving. I love it. So best of luck
Yeah,
in 2023
thank
as we
you.
continue to work together as well with our investors.
Mhm.
So have a great rest of your day and bye, agents.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.